Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Shahida and I am gonna be your teacher for today. So, today we are back with another topic, another very interesting topic. It's about genetics. So, all of us must have heard of this saying, like begets like. So, what does that mean? So, it is basically a very important formula which says living beings, that is, all living beings, produce offsprings of their own kind. So, if it's a human, so human will produce a human being. So, basically, that saying means this thing. So we all know we inherit certain traits from our parents, like the complexion from our father and the height of our mother. Those are some of the traits we inherit. So we all must have wondered at some point, how do we inherit those traits? So that is due to genetics, gene and heredity. So come on, let's see each of them in detail. So today we will be seeing about the genetics, genes, chromosomes, DNA, and how do genes pass from parents to child, and what is the genetic disorder and how genetic disorders happen. So let's see each of them in detail. So let's get started. So the first one is about the genetics. So genetics, it is actually a branch of science which deals with the study of genes and heredity. So these studies, what they actually provide us is, they provide us with the information of how living organisms. So here living organisms not only means humans, it also means animals, plants and all other living organisms. So how they inherit trait from their parents. So that is called the genetics. So this genetics, only because of the genetics we get our own individuality. It makes you and me. So that is basically the individuality genetics give us. So it explains why we have got the complexion of our mother, or the hair color of our dad, and wide smile like your mom, and long legs like any one of your relatives. So all that is due to genes and genetics. So now we'll see in detail about what are genes. So genes, they are very important for carrying information. Okay, information here means about our health, about our appearance, about how we look, and even about our personality. Say for example, if there's a person and he is always very calm and composed, maybe he is like that, but it can also be due to his genes. His parents must have been like that, so that genes have automatically passed on to him, and he is also behaving in the same way. So that is due to genes. And genes, the basic definition is that they are the basic units of heredity. So this means that genes, they actually determine what kind of traits and characteristics that are passed down from our parents, that is from our mother and father, to us, that is to the child. So this is basically the definition of genes. And now where genes are located? So they are located on the chromosomes. Now another question arises, where are these chromosomes located? So first there is our body, and inside our body we all know there are millions and billions of cells, and inside each cell there will be a few chromosomes. And inside the chromosomes we have the DNA, that is the deoxyribonucleic acid, and inside the DNA we have the genes. So genes are basically present inside the DNA, which is present inside the chromosomes, and chromosomes are in turn present inside the living cells. The chromosome, it is a thread-like structure. Mostly it will look like the picture given on the right side, and it is found in the cell of every living thing. And humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. So 23 pairs as in 23 plus 23, which makes 46 chromosomes. So each human being will have 46 chromosomes. So we will basically call it as 23 pairs of chromosomes. So moving on, just take a moment and pause the video and observe the image there on the right side. You can observe very clearly that how blood groups are determined. So as I already told you, genes are made up of DNA. So DNA is nothing but deoxyribonucleic acid. So it's a chemical name, right? So and it is also the abbreviation of DNA. So DNA, we all know how DNA looks. It looks like a twisted ladder. So now coming to the picture on the right, the father here has blood type A and the mother here has blood type B. So the offspring's blood groups will be, one child will have blood group A and one will have the blood group O, because O will be present, O allele will be present everywhere, okay, like both in the father and in the mother. So the last child who is in green color will have the O blood group, and one child will have AB, that is codominant, and the other child will have B. So we have got 4 blood groups. So type A, type B, type AB and type O. So now coming to the most interesting part, how do genes pass from parents to the child? So just take a moment and ponder over this. Just think for a minute. How does genes pass from the parents to child? So all of us, we have got our genes from our parents, so that we have learned so far. So each pair of their chromosome, you get one chromosome from your mother and one chromosome from the father. So as I've already told you all, each human being will have 46 chromosomes, that is 23 pairs of chromosomes. So so the person would have got 23 chromosomes from the mother and 23 chromosomes from the father. And when the egg and sperm cells come together, 23 from the mother and 23 from the father joins together to make a full set of 46 chromosomes. So this is how we get genes from the parents. And so now a question can arise. So why aren't your genes exactly the same as your siblings? It's quite tricky, but the answer is that just like you, your parents, each your mother and your father, they will have 23 pairs of chromosomes, each of them. So what happens, say I'll just give you a small example. Say for example, there is a person and his mother is a bit shorter and his father is a bit taller. So he has got his height gene. Each gene has certain characteristics. So this person, he has got his height gene from his mother, which means that the person will be a bit shorter. But the same person's brother, he has a brother, okay? So in this example, he has a brother and he has got that particular gene from his father. So that means that the person will be a bit taller than his sibling. So that is why we have different genes and different characteristics. So you might get one chromosome in one pair from your mother and your sibling might get the other chromosome from another parent, that is from the father. So that is why there is difference between the siblings, difference in traits between the siblings. So now we will talk about mutations. So mutations are basically, they are defects or mistakes or a change in the DNA. So this DNA, that is the deoxyribonucleic acid, they are chemicals, as I already told you. They are chemical units. They are arranged in an order, sequence or a chain. So this is found in the chromosome of a living cell. So they are arranged in an order or sequence. So this sequence, when it is arranged in a particular sequence or a particular order, it forms a code which is called as the genetic code. So this genetic code, what it does is it tells the cells what to do. Only then the cells can perform a particular action. So when so this is the usual process. So what happens when there is some kind of defect or removal of some part of the chain or some breakage? So in that case, what happens is, if the chain gets out of order, a mutation occurs, that is a problem, a defect occurs. So some mutation may happen when the DNA is made, that is in the fetal stage, or when the person is a baby, but sometimes due to external forces there can be mutations. So the external damages can be by exposure to harmful energy and rays. So here rays means X-rays. So people who are working in labs and factories where there are harmful rays are more susceptible to develop mutations, genetic mutations. So they have to be very careful and wear proper clothing, the clothing which protects them from the harmful rays. So most mutations are harmless, that is they do not cause any problems, but a very few mutations, they are very serious and they cause some problems. So some mutation can cause a cell to divide incorrectly. So all of us would know what will happen if cells divide incorrectly, that is rapid cell division. It leads to cancer. So cancer is a disease or a disease condition where there is rapid cell division, very rapid cell division. So that can also be due to mutation in genes. So this mutation, it can also be helpful sometimes. It is not always bad. It can also be helpful sometimes. For example, a mutation can cause an animal to have a hair color that is blended with its surroundings. That is, if it helps the animal to survive properly, that is to do its best, so that it can hide from its predators. So for that, certain gene mutations help them, and these mutations, after several research and studies, the scientists, what they think and what they have assumed and formulated a theory is that this mutation leads to the evolution, so or the formation of different living things. So when there are continuous changes, people get evolved, I mean the living organism gets evolved. So that is what the scientists have formulated. That's what the scientists think. So now we will talk about a few genetic disorders. So we'll first see what genetic disorders are. So genetic disorders are the diseases that arise from the abnormalities in the genetic material. So that is the genetic disorder. So when there is no proper sequencing of DNA, that is, it is not in the correct order, it can lead to genetic disorders or mutations. So many genetic disorders, they are not apparent during the childhood and infancy period. As the person grows older, only at that time the symptoms starts developing, and only at that time the person will be able to find that he is having a particular genetic disorder. But most of the time the symptoms and the disease, the symptoms will become evident during the infancy stages itself. So proper treatment and preventive measures can be taken in some case of diseases. So these genetic disorders, they result from mutations, that is a defect in the gene, a defect in a single gene or an entire chromosome. So if you observe this picture carefully, you can see two persons on the topmost level. So let us assume that the one on the left is the father and the one on the right is the mother. Okay, so they reproduce and they are having 4 children right now. So before that, the father has an altered gene. The half shaded pink is the altered gene and the other half is the normal gene. The same in case of the mother. The mother is also having an altered gene and a normal gene. So that means that they are not fully affected by the disease. They are just the carriers of the disease. That is, they just inherited the disease, but they are carrying the disease, but they are actually not having the disease. So when they reproduce, say for example they are having 4 children. So out of the 4 children, 1 children will have the gene and will have the disease. So he is affected. 1 child will be affected and 1 child will not be affected. He will not be a carrier nor he will show any symptoms. And the other 2 children, they will be exactly the same like their parents. That is, they are carriers. They will have the disease, but the symptoms and the disease condition will not be shown evidently. So the one child will have altered genes only, that is he will have developed the disease fully, and another child will have usual genes only, that is the child does not have any disease and he is not affected, he is not even carrying the disease. And the other two children, they will have half usual gene and half altered gene, both of them. So this, I hope you all understood this. So moving on. So now, how do genetic disorders occur? So far we've seen what are genetic disorder, what is genetics, what are genes. So now we'll see how these genetic disorders occur. So you would have got a basic idea by now. So these genetic disorders, they occur when there is a mutation or a defect in the chromosomes or the genes or the DNA. So different things can cause a genetic disorder, such as a change, a mutation, as I already told you. So when there is a change in one gene on the chromosome, it can cause a genetic disorder, or a missing part of a chromosome. That is, I told you already that the chromosomes and the genes, they will be arranged in a particular sequence. So if one part of the sequence is missing, there will be a genetic disorder, and and that is called as deletion. A part will be missing, so it's called a deletion. And the genes shifting from one chromosome to another, so it is called translocation. So the gene which has to be present on this side, if it moves to this side, it's called translocation, and it can cause many problems or genetic disorder. And genetic disorders can also be due to an extra or missing chromosome. So when there is a missing chromosome, that is in the sequence, if a part of the sequence is missing, or if a part of the sequence are extra, there can be genetic disorders. Or another reason is that too many or too few sex chromosomes. So this is also one of the most important reason for genetic disorder. So I hope you all have understood till now. With this, we come to the end of the session. Thank you so much.